So many of you have used Ask Shana. I appreciate so much that you all have used it and that it's been a blessing to you to be able to communicate one-on-one with Shana. For those of you who don't know, the Ask Shana page is a page exclusively for our partners where they can go on and ask Shana questions that we will then talk about and answer on the show. The response from this has been remarkable, folks. It's been amazing. It's wonderful for the partners to be able to connect with Shana. But just remember, like we mentioned last time, we have a ton of partners. You know, I said last time that we did lose some partners after Dan's passing, but we didn't lose a lot. We still have a lot of partners and a lot of people who want to ask. So naturally, what has happened is we've gotten a pretty large backlog of questions. The simple fact is that Shana is not going to be able to get to every question. She's going to do as best as she can to get to as many as she can. If you've listened to the show, this is the segment actually. The second segment is the segment that we devote now to answering the Ask Shana questions. Unless we have callers, we go right to Ask Shana and we answer as many as we can. So a couple of you have sent notes to Pat that have certainly not been cruel in any means, but have wondered, saying things like, you know, I asked this question several weeks ago and Shana has not gotten to it. Should I send it again? Did I miss something? I want to try to clear that up for you as best as I can. The first is this. If you sent a question a couple weeks ago and you haven't heard it answered, do yourself a favor, go back and listen to some of the podcasts. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to tell you the specific podcast because I would have to know what question it was to know when it was answered. But if you go back and listen to the podcast during the second segment every day, so from say 10 minutes in until like 23 minutes in, you may have to mess around with some of the commercials there. But from 10 minutes in to 23 minutes in, that's the second segment. You will likely hear all the questions that Shana answered, and you'll likely be able to catch your question. Maybe you missed it. Maybe she did answer it. Maybe, though, she did not answer it, and you want an answer to the question. Here's my suggestion for you. Call into the show. The best way to get a guaranteed answer to your financial question immediately, right on the spot, is to call into the show. Now, if you're not comfortable with that, I totally understand. That's totally fine. I'm actually going to say a word later on, perhaps if we have time in the program, about specifically that idea of calling into the show. But for now, if you're more comfortable with just using Ask Shana, that's totally fine. Here's some suggestions for you. Treat your Ask Shana question like a Rapid Fire Friday question. Keep it pithy, as Dan used to say. Don't write a whole paragraph. Okay, because what will happen then is that actually causes the backlog because I take the time to read that. It takes me 10 or 15 seconds to read the whole question. And then by that time, we've eaten up a good chunk of our airtime. If you keep it pithy, we can move through those really, really quickly. So do your best to keep it pithy. Keep it short. And this is a no duh, but if you ask a question, tune into the show. If you ask a question, say, if you ask a question on a Monday, tune into the show for the rest of the week. There's a good chance Shana will be able to get to it sometime that week. She might not get to it on Tuesday, but she might get to it on Thursday. Listen to the show. And just a reminder as well, make sure to share all the vital information. Share your age. I know it's embarrassing, but make sure that you do that because it helps Shana. It really helps her to be able to give you a good answer to that question if you share that stuff.